I therefore felt also that I had a duty, or I wanted to explain my side of the story. I have a full-time job. It takes me 3/4 of an hour to get from my place to here, and if I'm working at my job, it takes me an hour to get here and back. Way out in 5 minutes actually. And what I meant by looking at the agenda, obviously I read the agenda every time, and I do have to make, because I have a full-time job, I do have to make decisions. At some occasions I cannot attend meetings. I've also been sick and continue to be a bit sick, but that's okay. It's another thing that I haven't had. There have been many occasions where I've been in hospitals when I should have been here. So that was an explanation as to why there were some occasions I would not turn up. Now, Councillor Shattuck, you are incredibly knowledgeable about the Tokoroa area in particular, because you live here, and so are the rest of the people. When it comes to one of the parks, for example, in the discussion that we've recently had about Strathmore, I am not familiar. I know there's an athletics track there. I know the soccer people use it. I don't really. I've never actually been to watch a game at Strathmore Park. So when it comes to the question, for example, I'm just using this as an example of whether maybe some of that land is surplus or to requirements and shifting and so forth, I tend to take a back seat to the people that have lived and worked and played in Tokoroa, because I feel they have much more knowledge of the subject than I'll ever have. So that was what I meant really by saying that when there are particular issues affecting particular areas, and same with Kitaru, Cleanshay Park, I know a little bit more about that because I played a few games of rugby there. But people do have local instinct and background and things which I don't have, and that was really the point I was trying to make. Insofar, it has been mentioned a number of times that the comment that I made about being shafted by Tokoroa customers. I regret that comment. In hindsight, that was something that I should not have said. And this is question time, isn't it? So I regret that comment. Insofar as the two ward systems concerned that you raised, as I see it, there was a flow through from the original suggestion of the Mayor that we have 8 councillors, and then if you have 8 councillors, you have to have a 2-ward system. And so, but since the council recommended to maintain the 10 councillors in the first instance, then the rationale to have a 2-ward system, due to the population representation, went completely out the door. Because, but it had to, if there were 8 councillors, it probably would have had to be that way. So that's why the 2-ward system, and also the fact that there are no financial or other efficiencies from that.
No, thank you for that. I just want to make one comment. Did you read the Waikato Times just recently? Where in the Waikato Times they were talking about councillors going to meetings and how long they were sitting in the meetings and how many were. So I think it's pretty well focused rather as to our attendance because we are paid by the public purse. So yeah, it was. But thank you for that.
Are there any further questions? Councillor Lee. Councillor Bill.
I was just going to confirm, Councillor Bill, that your firms that you espouse here were actually formed in conjunction with your local community, and that if the local community is distant, match your views, you will change your views accordingly.
Well, how much consultation do you have to do? I didn't go around and ring 2,000 people up and ask for their views.
I suppose one of them was that it was if you felt your views were in contrast with what the community wanted, you are
Exactly, and I think to be fair, I think there's a very large number of submissions that have been made in relation to this issue, and if you look at the people in support of, for want of a better word, status quo, and the people against it, there's a huge majority of people that support the status quo. So, and they support the submissions made by the Tiwao Community Board and myself. So I think that tells you something about where the community is dealing with.
Any further questions? Councillors, we will therefore go through all the submissions that have been received. So if you start on page 22, which is submission number 1 from John Wood. We've heard from John. Submission number 2 is from Bill Newing from Aratuni, who believes that we should have 8 councillors, believes that we should have 2 wards, and there should be no community boards. From Mr. Newing of Aratuni. Any comments on his? Submission number 3 is from Aratuni on similar lines. More that communities need a voice, knowing that they will be heard. Yep, but I believe there should be community boards, but there should be only 2 wards. That actually, although even though there would be 2 wards, according to Mr. Fisk, you could still have a defined area to allow a community board to exist. It doesn't have to be part of the electoral boundary. You could then draw a line and say there would be a community board around that, even though there were 2 wards. So recognise that. Rennie Allen, number 4, 10 councillors, no 2 wards, and keeping community boards. Keep the community board. Are there any questions at any stage there, please? Submission number 5 is from Keith Allen. Better representation, keeping 3 wards, keeping community booklet. 6, Wendy Laurie. 10 councillors, no comment on the wards. Community boards are the west they to keep. It's pretty well no change required. Long Hill Park, there's no there. Most councils employed, so 10 people speaks the workload. Wanting 2 wards instead of its own there. Get rid of community boards, they have no teeth, voice, space, no public health to Tiwao. Mrs. Spinley, past community board member, wants 10 councillors, 2 wards. The reason, rid of community boards, they have no teeth, they are faceless in the community. North and south of hey, that is okay. Keith Ray from Tiwao, keep the 10 councillors, no to the 2 wards, and yes, of course, we must have, do you believe we should have no community boards? Saying yes, have representation of councillors in each ward, therefore no need of a community board. Diane Harris, 10 councillors, no to the wards. Tiwao needs to be heard. We need 1 councillor at least. That needs to be guaranteed. It's the only time we sort of came in. That the community boards, that in terms of payment, I don't know that this council ever raised the cost area in there in terms of that, and we certainly raised it in terms of cost of dropping councillors from 10 to 8, but just for your information, it's costing Vatauru more to run Pride in Vatauru than it did to run a community board, which had gone, of course, out to community consultation. Mary Tidbury, I would prefer to have 3 wards. I prefer to keep the Tiwao Community Board. From Raywin, from Vatauru, ludicrous, staying, claiming, targeted. If it's it's not simple, then it must have been wrong. So I presume it should like status